Hey there, RES friends and family. It's Ruth Squires here with RES Luxury Group, EXP Realty, and it is July 1st, so it's time for our monthly market stats. And I have a bit of a cautionary advisory, I'll call it, for you at the end of this video. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I know what we want to hear is how's the real estate market tracking, the hyper local market. You hear a lot of media news about what's going on out there. And so I'm going to give you the stats, show you the data, and then discuss with you some things to keep in mind. So, right off the bat, our inventory is down. We've been hearing most regularly the inventory is increasing. We are still seeing new homes coming on the market, but we are actually down 59 active homes for sale since last month. So that's a significant change when you're considering 1,328 homes overall on the market across the board. Now, I will tell you that when you look at our actual local MLS, we have 300 or so more homes in that active grouping, but they're outside of the county. So I'm only reporting to you what is located in Citrus County. As far as homes that have sold, we are seeing an increase in sold homes by a slight bit. It's about 34 homes more that sold in the last month. So when you look at that correlation, like we talked about last month, we have less inventory month over month and more sales. So that's resulted in more success for sellers. And certainly buyers have choices, so they're having some negotiating opportunities as well. One thing I would like everyone to keep in mind if you are selling your house, and a bit of a encouragement for buyers if you are negotiating, asking for concessions, we are seeing more and more negotiated seller concessions for buyers that are needing that and requesting that. So it is part of the equation if you're trying to sell your house. Don't be afraid of it. Don't feel insulted by the request to give concessions. Be aware and prepared that that may be part of your successful sale negotiations. So days on market, overall, we're looking still at about 90 days. 90 to 100 days on market right now seems pretty standard across the board. And then we have fewer expired listings as of June. We're already in June. As of June than we had in May. So some good positive things. Our list to sales ratio is pretty level as well, at still at 97%. So very strong numbers for sellers. Like I've told you before, though, if you're selling your house, you have to be prepared to strategically price, monitor the price. If my mantra is, if your price isn't compelling, it's not selling. So keep that in mind, because that is really truly the rule of thumb right now in this market. So cautionary tale, you've probably heard me say this before if you watch me or know me, that I love data. I'm a data junkie. I use black and white data to inform me as to the decisions that I make and the recommendations that I make to my customers. So I love data. Stats, I do not love as much. And here's the reason why. You have to take stats with somewhat of a grain of salt. If you really want to understand the stats that you're getting, you need to understand the inputs. So you can talk to a handful of realtors and we're all going to give you different stats. It's kind of like going to an appraiser. An appraiser is going to appraise a property. Another appraiser will appraise it a little differently. Same thing with stats. So it's how we're pulling the data out of the system. It's how we're analyzing the data. So even when you look at reporting that comes from, say, Florida Realtors or National Association of Realtors, same thing. What is the data they're using? You'll see sometimes a very more intimate breakdown of data where you're looking at manufactured homes separate of site built homes. Maybe you're not just looking at residential home sales, you're looking at single family versus multifamily, you're breaking out the condos from the single family residence. There's a lot of different ways of kind of picking and piecing away at the data. So for my market stats, I take residential as a whole for Citrus County. I break it down into different price brackets that helps you to look at, if you're selling, what's the competition, or if you're buying, what's the competition in that price point that I am in. So I think that's really important to start with, and then we can get more detailed if we want to break it down more. The cautionary tale I have for you, and one of the reasons I love doing this every month, is I'm really looking closely at the numbers. And when I see an anomaly that does not make sense to me, I can dig in deeper. So this particular report, I had the 400 to 450 price bracket was showing average close price to original list price of 101%. You probably know we're not in a market that's having multiple offers right now. This is not the COVID market of 2020 through 2023. This is more normal market. So while there are sometimes those few and far in between that do end up getting more than one offer at a time, it's not the norm right now. So to have close price to original list price at 101%, when we're averaging out in the low 90s, because sellers are having to negotiate, sellers are having to change their price while their home is on the market in order to successfully attract the buyer. 101% turns your head, right? So I went and dug into that price bracket, which then led me into a whole rabbit trail of investigation. And what I can tell you is, unfortunately, there's some very incorrect data that is being fed into our system and then being pulled out into these reportings. And this is going to be the same data that any organization, any association that's pulling this data is going to be receiving. So my caution for you is you need to look very closely at what you're actually using when you're analyzing the real estate data. So the reasons that some of this was off recently is clerical errors. Prices were put in wrong to begin with, which then created this big change between the correction, which the corrections were done incorrectly. Price put in as an example at 41,600. The real price was supposed to be 410,600 or 416,000, and so that makes a very big change from original list price to the sales price at 400 something, right? So that's going to skew the data. There's also things like a property goes from one parcel size to a larger parcel size and changes in price. And that change, while you can't see why that change happened, just looking at the listing, it caused a significant increase in value, which then again skews the data. So there's a number of different variables that go into these things, and we have to be mindful of that. I look at it very closely because it matters to me that I'm giving the right guidance and I have the right perspective. And it's not just me saying, well, what I'm experiencing out there, I'll tell you that too, because I do think that's important as well. What the feet on the ground are seeing, hearing, and experiencing. But the data also is very important, and the quality of the data. I'm on the MLS Board of Managers. We're always watching this, viewing this, and trying to improve it, because that is our job to really help the integrity of the information that we're putting in front of all of the realtors out there. Professionally, we need to know that we're using the right information. So just be very careful when you're looking at these numbers. Understand there's always some elements of error in these things, but it should give you a reasonable perspective on the trajectory of the market and how to navigate it, especially if you're working with a knowledgeable and professional realtor that can walk you through that, have those conversations, and help you to understand what your best moves are. So good luck if you're buying or selling. If you're not, there's some great investor opportunities out there in case you're thinking about investing in real estate as opposed to just making a move. And I love to talk about those strategies. So anything that you may need, I'm here for you. My team is here for you. give us a call. You can reach us at 352-794-1426. I'm Ruth Squires. We're with eXp Realty, and we are RES Luxury Group. We bring you white glove service and red carpet treatment because your satisfaction is our guarantee. Talk to you soon.